Welcome back. Batman Arkham Knight has some of the coolest side content in any Arkham game. It covers so many cool and underused villains, from the downright disturbing Professor Pig to more classic villains like the most annoying man on the face of planet Earth, the Riddler. On the 8th of September 2024, I published a video which would change the trajectory of this channel forever, where I broke down TwoFaced Bandit, and from that video, a series would spawn where I'd break down each side mission in Batman Arkham Knight, giving them ratings from 1 to 10 based on their gameplay, story, and difficulty, respectively. These scores would then be combined to give the mission an overall rating out of 30, and that series culminated in my ranking of the whole group of Gotham's Most Wanted in Arkham Knight, and the ranking was, from worst to best, Friend in Need, Gotham on Fire, Lamb to the Slaughter, Creature of the Night, Two-Faced Bandit, A Perfect Crime, Heir to the Cowl, Line of Duty, Militia Occupation Missions, Wonderland, Beneath the Surface, Shadow War, Gun Runner, In From the Cold, and Riddlers Revenge. Now I think, objectively, that list is pretty good, and I'll leave a link in the description to the playlist of those original videos and the supercut, so you can watch them however you want to get more in-depth looks at each mission. But the rating system certainly wasn't perfect, but I think it was a pretty good first go around at rating these missions, and I've got one small issue. I don't agree with it. That's right, I created a list that, even when creating it, I didn't agree with, and although this made for a relatively unbiased look at these missions, it's not how I'd rank them. So we're here today to right the wrongs of my past, to exercise the side mission demons of Cardi past. We'll be doing this by giving my personal, actual ratings of these side missions, and comparing them to my initial ratings to see how much the list changes. It's important to keep in mind this list is my own opinion, and isn't to be taken as gospel. I'd be interested to hear your guys' list or favourite side mission down below, because I think there are a lot of great missions here which could easily be a lot of people's favourites and a lot of people's least favourites. Like the video, it helps out so much and it pushes the video into the algorithm so we can continue to build our little corner of the Batman fandom. And obviously it goes without saying, subscribe. It's the best way to help the channel overall, and it would mean the world to me. Add on to that the slew of upcoming Arkham Knight content to celebrate the decade anniversary, which is coming this week, and I don't see any reason not to, so hit the subscribe button and let's get into it. Coming in at last place, Friend in Need. This mission is just really poor. It's like 5 total inputs needed to beat it, and on top of that it wastes Hush. I'm really not sure what they were thinking with this, but it's just lackluster, especially after his amazing setup in Arkham City. There's not really much more to say here, because this mission really does just suck. Next up we have Lamb to the Slaughter. Again, not much substance here. The story is okay, I guess. Like, if you really pay attention, you can see the story of why Jack Ryder goes to investigate the cult, but it's one simple combat section and it's done. I actually had a comment on my video about this saying that this is the best side mission in the game, so if whoever commented that is watching this, please explain to me why you think this is the best side mission in the game. There's really not much gameplay here, and it feels like a waste of a C-tier villain who could have been much more. Next up though we have Gotham on Fire. It actually swaps places with Lamb to the Slaughter purely based on the fact it has more substance. Not much more, but there are 3 parts to it. You explore the map while doing it, and Firefly is a legacy character from Origins, and any side mission that links itself back to Origins is a good one in my books, since before Shadow came out, this was the only actual game which could have made links back to Origins, and it's nice to see Rocksteady recognise it as an official entry into the series, and for that reason Gotham on Fire actually moves 1 place up on my list. Whoa, pause the video. I've got an important announcement. What does everyone here like? Well, Batman, of course. And what's better than Batman? Well, people you like talking about Batman. And that's why I'm here to tell you about the Gotham City Radio Hour, which is a new podcast centered around Batman. Now, as a lifelong Batman fan in all respects, I am both extremely excited and humbled to tell you that I was invited onto the show to talk about one of my favourite episodes of the critically acclaimed animated series, I Am the Night. Knight. And myself and the wonderful host Patrick had a great time discussing the episode, along with a load of little side tangents like how we became Batman fans, how we became animated series fans, and why exactly Batman enjoys punching crocodiles. And you best believe there's a ton of Arkham themed content on there already, including a 3-part series about Batman Arkham City featuring Arkham analysis, and an episode all about Arkham Asylum. And if you want even more Batman outside of Arkham, there's a ton of really cool episodes out right now, and there's enough content already there with the people a lot cooler than me to keep you entertained, and a ton more to come while you try your hardest to get 3 stars on Shock and Awe Extreme. The link's in the description, so go and check it out. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. Let's get back into the video. Creature of the Night stays the same. It's one I always look forward to playing, even if it's light on gameplay. It doesn't have much in the way of substance or gameplay, really, but the story really carries it. It's our first look at an Arkham vs. Man-Bat and really does a great job at making the player feel bad for Kirk Langstrom. This mission also comes with a couple of cool Easter eggs, the first being that Francine's body disappears when you go back to Kirk's lab after you complete the mission, and on Halloween Kirk can escape GCPD custody and heads back out into the city. Also, the jump scare is perfect and will still get most players to this day. I also really like the little DNA splicing minigame. Next up though, we have Line of Duty, which has dropped in the rankings for the simple fact that the other side missions above it have either been improved with new entries into the series, or the other entries above it are just more memorable in retrospect. But I don't hate this mission at all. I love the fact the firefighters are scattered in literally every corner of the city, and the fact each encounter takes full advantage of Arkham Knight's stellar combat and stealth in the open world just makes me happy. One encounter that sticks out to me is the firefighter you have to rescue near a lighthouse in a small but fun stealth encounter. The story is also quite fun, and as much as Chief Underhill gets made the butt of the joke on this channel, I think he's a really cool and sympathetic character, much like the other villains in Batman's world. He's just trying to do good by those he loves, but he ends up in more trouble than perhaps his cause was worth. Overall, great mission. Next up we have Heir to the Cowl, which has actually dropped a place, and overall I really like this mission and the story it follows, especially that last bit in the clock tower. It's a bit of a letdown considering how Azrael was set up in Arkham City, but that seems to be a running theme in this game: hype us up and then drop us back down. That said, taken on its own without the expectations, it's actually pretty solid. It's short, yeah, but we get more on Azrael, which is cool since he's an underrated character and barely gets any attention elsewhere. And combined with the fun gimmick of not being able to be hit in the training sections with Azrael, this mission is really cool. Gimmicky, but cool. I have my issues with the story, but overall I like this. Much like Line of Duty, it has dropped down purely to the other missions climbing the list, and not because I like these missions any less than my first review of it. And can we please just listen to the final bit of music in the clock tower? It's amazing. Okay, so coming in 2 places above where it ranked initially is TwoFaced Bandit. So I still have my critiques about this mission, especially the gameplay. I think the stealth sections are fun, and the gimmick of being allowed to be loud while in stealth sections is pretty cool, but that final, dare I say, boss fight against Harvey is just dreadful. There's no health bar, there's no special moves, it's just a standard reskinned thug. However, the reason this mission has been moved up rather than down is all down to Arkham Shadow. And I know some people disregard Arkham Shadow due to its console exclusivity. Aside from the fact that that is a very backwards way of thinking, we need to talk about it a little bit. Basically, Harvey Dent gets hours of extra character development, and it makes the simple conversation between Harvey and Bruce at the end of it so much better. It just takes this side mission to another level. This is only a brief overview, and if you want to hear more of my thoughts on Harvey Dent and Bruce's relationship, I'll link my Two-Faced documentary and the original Two-Faced Bandit video in the description, because I can't cover all my thoughts here, but just know this is a great mission story-wise with Arkham Shadow's backup. as we move into Wonderland. Though Wonderland has actually dropped 2 places, and as many of you might know, I'm not a massive fan of the Mad Hatter. I don't know why, I just don't really like him, so I was quite surprised when this got really high up in my initial ranking. Again, this mission only drops down a couple of places from my initial rankings, because the missions above have gotten better or more enjoyable for me in the time since that video, but not due to the shortcomings of this mission itself, because in all honesty, I really like this side mission, mostly for that final combat section in the book where we travel through stylized versions of the previous games, not Origins though, and I just think that's such a cool way to show Mad Hatter's mind tricks. Visually, this mission's really good. There's one part in particular in the interrogation room which just looks really cool, like graphically the lighting's on point, it just makes me so happy. My only real gripe with this mission is the fact that I just don't like Mad Hatter at all. He's freaky and I hate him, but my own counterpoint to this is that at least when he does show up, that means we can beat him up. Next up though, we have Shadow War, which has dropped 3 places. This is probably Arkham Knight's most controversial mission due to the final choice. Shadow War drops a few places due to the simple fact that I think the mission as a whole doesn't quite satisfy my itch for a solid race and league story. Don't get me twisted, it's not bad, far from it in fact. I think objectively it's easily a top 3 mission, but in my personal rankings it just doesn't do enough for me. With all that being out on the table though, I do think it has a lot of redeeming qualities which have put it so high to begin with. Firstly, the detective mode section right at the start is great, tracking across the city is quintessential Arkham gameplay, and that little bit of work you have to do to find out which button the League Ninja press to get into the hideout is really fun, and it's a nice little switch up. The final thing I wanted to touch on this mission is obviously the final choice, save Ra's or let him die. This could be an entire video by itself, and the jury is still out on what Batman would do, let alone what the player would do, but I think the fact we even get a choice is really cool, and means in a way we can kind of shape our version of Arkham Batman, albeit to the slightest of degrees. Next up we have Gunrunner, which has dropped 3 points. I mean, what can I say about Gunrunner? I love it. It once again falls to the same fate as a lot of missions on this list. I've just come to love those above Gunrunner more, but this is easily one of the most enjoyable experiences when playing Arkham Knight, both gameplay-wise and story-wise. I used to be a bit of an anti-Penguin person. I never really understood the whole thing surrounding Penguin, but with age comes wisdom, and when I hit the ripe old age of 20 back in January, I realised I do actually quite like the Penguin and his simple but enjoyable stories. I think my reasons for loving this mission stem from 2 places in particular, Oswald and Dick Grayson. Penguin always gets a good showing in the Arkham series, and I think this continues here. He's funny, poses an actual threat, and although his side mission story is built upon the foundations of things we'd never see the effects of, that being the gun business in Gotham and subsequently Bloodhaven, you feel like this is important, something driven home by Grayson, who we get some great moments from, and I think he really makes this mission and acts as its lifeblood. He gets a great showing here, and in my humble opinion, gets more character moments and genuinely memorable moments than Batman's other son, who he hates in this game. Overall, great mission. Next up, the Militia Occupation missions, which have actually moved up the list by 2 places. The Militia Occupation missions are not only the only missions to actually include the game's titular Arkham Knight, they're also the most immersive. Let me explain. Gotham being taken over is one of my favourite things about this game. Batman losing control and subsequently regaining control come nightfall is one of the best and most satisfying parts of the game. It fundamentally changes how you play as the occupation gets more aggressive, from avoiding certain routes which are guarded by watchtowers, fighting tanks in the streets, or even being sidetracked by an APC. These missions have always really impressed me with their sheer immersion, and the fact they tie into the main story is great. I'm a fan of the tank gameplay in this game, despite the fact that some people seem to think I'm not, which I've never said, but anyway, I like the tank fights, and the inclusion of the bombs scattered around the city of Gotham also means that you have to get quite good with the tank, and obviously it's led to the funniest voice line in any of the Arkham games ever.
The bomb's payload is exposed. I can use the power winch to trigger a controlled explosion.
But on the flip side, I really enjoy the on-foot stuff, the checkpoints, the watchtowers, all of it. There's just a certain level of satisfaction to reclaiming Gotham, literally by one street corner at a time, and it really, oh god, I can't believe I'm about to say this, it really makes you feel like Batman. But you know what doesn't? the boss fight you have to endure once it's all done. You know the one I'm talking about. I won't even go into detail because this has been spoken about to death, but I'll leave you with 2 words. Slade Tank. Next up we have Beneath the Surface, which has actually moved a place up in my list. I mean, where do I even begin with Beneath the Surface? Let's cut to the chase. If it were longer, it would have been number 1. And yes, this is my excuse to get my government-mandated Killer Croc love into this video. But, can we still climb under... Yeah, we can still climb under Killer Croc's ball sacks. That's my favourite part of this game, because I love Killer Croc and his fishy scent. But, yeah, I mean, I genuinely don't know what to say. I love this mission. The new location of the Sunken Iron Heights is a great throwback to Arkham Asylum and its atmosphere, and I think Iron Heights even stands up to Asylum when it comes to its atmosphere, which is something that can only be said about a handful of locations in this game. Outside of that though, I think giving Croc his own fully fledged side mission was a great call, made even better by the fact he's presented as a victim in the experiments done on him. I think this just means that for those of you who aren't already emotionally connected to Killer Croc, you do become sympathetic towards Croc and don't just view him as Arkham's monster character. I also love the boss fight against Croc. It takes advantage of the tag team gameplay, so the dynamic duo becomes the dynamic DX, and that always makes me happy. But overall, I think my original video on this really holds up when it comes to my opinions on this mission, so if you want a more in-depth look at my opinions, I'll link that below. But just know, I love this mission. Next up we have In From the Cold, which has actually dropped a place. This might be my most controversial change from my initial rankings, and I think it's one that I'm not even sure if I agree with, because this spot and my number 2 pick are heavily interchangeable depending on my mood, but I adore this mission. Dare I say it's one of my favourite pieces of Mr. Freeze content across any Batman media, for one simple reason. It gives him an ending. Not a happy one, not a sad one, but an ending befitting of his character. He gets Nora back, but for how long? 2 days, 3 days, a week at most. And it's in that tragedy that I find my love for this mission. The gameplay is all pretty standard for Arkham Knight, but the story is what really pulls it through. It's as tragic as it is emotionally charged, and as happy as it is sad. I don't think Mr. Freeze deserved a happy ending after his life of crime, but I do think Victor Freeze deserved a happy ending, and I think that's what we see here. It still gets itself into my personal top 3 because of that, and what drove it home for me were 2 small bits of dialogue. The first, when it's all over, Alfred says if they should keep tracking the ship that Nora and Victor leave on, and Batman says, let them go, we won't see them again. Which to me is Batman knowing Victor isn't a bad man, and he's not going to continue his life of crime now he has Nora, even if only for a few days. And the second, and what really cements this mission as one of Arkham's best pieces of content period, is a conversation between Victor and Nora, where Victor says, I don't want you to die, and Nora just replies with, then let me live. I can't put into words how this makes me feel, but I'm sure you feel it too. It's pure cinema. Next up, and I'm sure to the delight of a lot of you, it's Riddler's Revenge, which actually drops from the number 1 spot to the number 2 spot. Now, Riddler's Revenge holds a very special place in my heart, as the first time I ever beat the Riddler. I was only 10 when Arkham Knight came out, so I hadn't actually been bothered to ever do the Riddler stuff in Arkham City, Origins, or even Asylum. But when Knight came out, something changed inside me. A transformation into one of Arkham Riddler's biggest fans. I love him. I love his dumb riddles, I love his stupid racetracks, I even love how he makes me want to self-harm after hearing him alert me that I still haven't found all of his riddles on Founders Island as I'm trying to stop a city-wide hostile takeover. But all of that aside, I just think this game specifically nails the Riddler formula. I love his outings in all of the games, but I think Arkham Knight finally made the Riddler stuff fun? I don't know how to put it, but what I'm trying to say is that the loop of Riddler content here is addictive once you get into it. I've read comments previously saying how I'm flat out wrong, because as we know, opinions can be wrong, but jokes aside, I still think that I'm right in saying that this is the most comprehensive outing for the Riddler, and that's not even covering the riddle rooms and tracks, which test your mental and driving ability really nicely. And the tracks are still pretty tricky to this day. I also love the mix-ups in combat with the riddle bots being protected against either Catwoman or Batman's attacks respectively, and this just ensures this feels unique, because we don't see this anywhere else in the game. But again, I adore Riddler's Revenge, and I think being able to repeatedly punch his sorry face multiple times and damn near put him through the floor at the end of the mission is arguably the peak of satisfaction in this series. Coming in as my personal favourite side mission in Batman Arkham Knight is A Perfect Crime. It gets the biggest jump up in terms of the ranking, and I knew this would be the case when the final rankings were confirmed for the side mission ranking series, because A Perfect Crime doesn't have the best gameplay, story, or even difficulty. So why do I consider it to be Arkham Knight's best side mission, or at least my personal favourite? Well, it's down to the feel of it. I know, it sounds cheap, but I love when Batman media gets dark. When even Batman is disgusted by what he's seeing. I love it, and A Perfect Crime is the best example of this in the series. Batman finds mutilated bodies strung up around the city, which have words like flawed and reject written next to them, while haunting opera music fills the air surrounding the bodies. It's an amazing setup for a classic Batman detective story, using one of Batman's more underrated villains. People have theorised about why Rocksteady chose Pig over Zsasz for the quote-unquote serial killer slot in the game, but this mission is a testament to why that choice was the right one. Pig was a great choice, and this game introduced so many new fans to the character, including 10-year-old me, who found the character so unnerving, and spoiler alert, I still do. This side mission haunts me in the best way. It's usually one of the first I complete on repeat playthroughs, and always sticks out to me as such a unique display of the more brutal side of these games. Don't get me wrong, the series has some great displays of brutality, but this is one of the best displays of it we see on screen. Joker has some moments in Gotham City stories which make this look like Legoland, but actually seeing this on screen and kind of working alongside Alfred to discover what's going on is just perfect. It gives me Serious 7 vibes, which is a great vibe to have, and I think the beauty of this mission is down to its simplicity and the way it executes the simplicity. Laszlo Valentine is also such a good fit for the Arkhamverse. He's mentally screwed, physically imposing, and genuinely, in my opinion, the Arkham series' most disturbed character. The fate the Dolatrons meet is genuinely worse than death, being stripped of their identity, humanity, and being trapped inside their own brains, terrified for the remainder of their, I hesitate to say lives, so I'll say existence. A Perfect Crime is just, well, perfect, at least to me. And that's my new definitive list, separate from my rankings and accompanied with some reasoning. I know I didn't go very in depth here, but that wasn't the point of this video. I went in depth in that series, and I don't disagree with anything I said in that series. So if you want like my actual fully in-depth opinions, go and watch those videos, or say there's a supercut which just plays them back to back to back, all stitched together very nicely. So go and watch that if you want to hear my actual full opinions of these missions. And let me know what your list is down below, and let me know which side mission you usually go after first when you replay Arkham Knight. Thank you for all the support over the last few months. It's so heartwarming and humbling to see how many of you enjoy the content, and we aren't slowing down. This week is the Arkham Knight celebration week, and then after that, well, you'll just have to wait and see. But trust me, there's plenty more coming. Your support means the world. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.